Movies. The average person can be inspired by them. They can make us laugh. Movies can keep us on the edge of our seat, and so much more. Maddie's Movie Mix is a podcast for movie enthusiasts of all kinds. We hope you enjoy the show.
Wait. Weighing in at 100 and... Weighing in at 100 and... Matt Logan!
Yes, we both had the same problem. You.
So what now? Where's the stuff?
Listen! You smell something?
Yippee-ki-yay! This is Tyler Peterson.
Welcome back to the podcast. This is our second episode with the... Do we say infamous or famous? What's the proper wording? A patron episode with Sherry. Thanks for being here again.
Thank you so much. I'm so excited.
You're wearing the same shirt.
I am.
So am I. We're recording this the same night.
That's right.
Yes, we are.
And
put mine inside
Halloween week.
We should in between. I mean, let's just. I think we've said it before. We record 2 episodes at a time, and that's the way it is. So
we could get outfits, I guess.
We could
come out in like a giraffe costume.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah. Get one of those big sumo suits or something too for one of them.
That's right. And then we could fight.
You are so odd.
That could be fun. Could be interesting. I think I got a little weight on you though, so.
Not if I'm in a sumo suit.
We are going to get into Dune 1984, the original. Sherry is extremely excited about this. She was just bouncing off the walls 10 seconds before we started recording. I saw it. Did
There's
you see
footprints on the walls.
She's like, yeah, it's like, I know, it's like Spider-Man getting into it.
It's my favorite.
So it was shot in Mexico City, a lot of it. De Laurentiis was the director. He produced and directed it. He was the producer of it, right? But he also had a sister involved, right? Yeah. Yep. So that was pretty cool. Some neat things to it. The thing that was pretty interesting, though, it bombed pretty bad originally. It's a little over 2 hours long. It told a pretty detailed story in that short a time, so I don't think it really caught on. They spent about $42 million on making it.
Yep.
It only brought in, they have some estimates around $35 million. So yeah, it didn't do very well.
Let's not rush things. We don't even know what you have yet.
But what do they call it now? Remember what you said earlier? Cult classic.
It is cult.
What's your favorite part of the film?
My favorite part is when he gets the revenge on his father. Finally, he actually vindicates his dad.
Yeah.
And the Reverend Mother.
Yeah.
Gets to see that.
Yeah.
He is indeed the Kwisatz Haderach. And he's the one.
Right.
And I mean, that was just kind of like, ooh, she just, yeah.
Are you okay?
Sweet vengeance.
Sweet revenge. Yeah.
What about the creepy little girl, his little sister?
I loved what I really liked about that is, because when they did the the water of life, so to speak, and she inherits all these powers of a Reverend Mother.
Yeah.
I mean, how cool is that? I thought that was pure genius.
Yeah.
Because she was really instrumental at the end of that movie.
Right.
She helped her and Paul with the telepathy, brought the Baron down.
Yeah.
And I just thought that was kind of cool.
Yeah.
Creepy. Yes, I agree.
Did
it worked.
the little girl creepy give you nightmares, Tyler? I mean, I know that you. I mean,
yeah, little girls.
The creepiness, the horror type. I mean, it was just this is creepy.
Yeah,
I thought. I get the character.
Yep.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
But just the way I was like, just weird.
There's a lot of characters that can creep you out in this film.
Yeah.
Like the Baron's face.
Right. He liked it though. I mean, that was weird.
Doesn't make it right.
That was no.
And I think
No,
too,
for sure.
And I think too with her character, with her character is that they were trying to portray this young girl, but what is that saying that you always hear all the time? An old head on young shoulders.
Yeah.
They're trying to make her wise beyond her years,
Right.
obviously. And I actually thought is creepy that she pulled her.
Yeah.
She totally pulled it off.
Yeah.
Yeah, totally. I agree. But it was like the way, I mean, the voice, obviously, it wasn't hers. And, so she was trying to as a little kid, trying to, lip sync these words.
That's hard.
And it's very difficult.
Yeah.
But
And doing the wearing voice, I mean,
Right.
trying to, I mean, I really thought it was kind of pure genius.
Yeah.
And you are absolutely right. There are a lot of creepy characters
Yeah.
in the original.
Oh my gosh.
I really thought that she was a key player.
Yeah.
before we get going, though, I sort of mentioned Tyler and mentioned Sherry, but introduce yourself.
Oh, I'm Tyler Peterson.
Now it's your turn.
I'm Sherry Irvin.
And we should put in like little. You guys have the little cartoon caricatures of yourself.
We do.
Do we?
Do you?
Is that a question?
It's a question
Or an answer?
No, it's a question.
We have our own avatars.
Send it.
Okay.
Maybe we can
I
put
do
that
have
in.
an avatar.
We can put that in as you introduce yourself. I can edit that
I have
in.
my
my gosh.
Snapchat avatar.
Yeah, there
I
you go.
have that somewhere. Yeah.
Purple hair. Yeah.
So we can put your voice in with this avatar and
Right?
in
I
the
know. That is kind of
yeah.
cool. Snap.
least favorite part. Sherry, we're gonna do this episode just a little bit different. Starting off here, favorite, least favorite.
I think for me the least favorite was the fact that I thought that Leto Atreides was a huge monumental figure to get the program going. He's
Right.
obviously the House of Atreides.
Yep.
Huge. I was kind of sad that he died off as quickly as he did. I
Right.
really wish they could have kept his character moving a little bit more.
Yeah.
Another character that was kind of made me a little bit sad too is José Ferrer is like a powerhouse of an actor.
Yep.
To play the Emperor. I mean,
Yeah.
he's a powerhouse of an actor. That man is an icon in the acting world.
Yep.
Very little on him.
Yeah.
So I mean, some of but I was really sad to see, once again the going away of the dad and the son.
Yeah.
That was a powerful. Paul was very, very close to his dad.
Right.
So far that he made it his mission to avenge his dad.
Yeah.
So yeah, that was kind of sad for me.
I thought that with that, I thought that just lost his name, Kyle.
Kyle MacLachlan.
Yeah,
Yes.
Kyle MacLachlan. He did he's a new actor in this film.
Yep.
Sure was.
They did, because he was a new actor. I think that worked so well with the dad.
Yeah.
And because he was like learning
Yeah.
from his father in the film. And so being a young actor, you could like almost see that and feel it. Like it just felt so real. Because he was such a young actor and a seasoned actor, and that just relationship seems so natural, I thought.
Well, and I think for me too, it was just a kind of a powerhouse of brand new actors like Leo Atreides, Gergen. He was known for the Seventh Seal.
Yep.
Yeah.
I mean, he got so many people were getting their start.
Yep.
Sean Young, once again, Sean doing her thing. Kyle MacLachlan going into the Sex and the City series.
Yep.
Well, he did
Patrick
Twin Peaks before that.
Yeah, Twin Peaks. Yep. And Patrick Stewart going into Gene Roddenberry world.
Yeah.
Star Trek. I mean, so many people were getting their start. Dean Stockwell. Quantum Leap.
Yeah.
I mean, so many people were getting, and to see that.
Yep.
Was like, wow,
Yeah.
Where are they now?
That's right.
Kind of thing.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I thought that was just, but what was kind of fun was, because of the fact that they were a new cast. I mean, they had
Yeah.
a few original, like Jose and
Yeah.
but yeah, it's just kind of to see where they are. And then obviously having the iconic Sting,
Yeah, buddy.
Yeah, but he's only iconic now. I mean, he was kind of figuring out what he was going to be doing, really, at that time. I mean, did he want to get into the acting world? Was he going to keep singing?
Well, yeah,
some of
obviously
that.
the police, being in the police
Right.
was huge.
But I think he was trying to be like David Bowie type,
be able to encompass both
try
worlds.
to try to get into that. So
Obviously, with Sting, though, the music kind of won out because, I don't think Sting played very many roles.
No, right.
Yeah.
I don't think he was very good. David Bowie was better, but it's not very good either.
Yeah.
That's saying a
So
lot.
talented people. That's not the point that I'm trying to make. Very talented people, but you just have
They
to.
found
kinda,
their fit eventually.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes, absolutely. So. But my least favorite was they had to pack so much into this 2 hours and 15 minutes or whatever it was. Bella's over there. She's like, "Come on, it's super late, you guys, and I'm tired. I want to go to bed." And we're keeping her up. Poor little 7-month-old. They tried to pack too much. I wanted to know more story. They, get some depth to the characters, more depth than there was. I would have loved to see this be a lot, maybe a 2-parter, or even let's pull a 3-hour and really learn more about it. But so that was my least favorite. However, back in 1984, what are they going to do?
Right.
Yeah. And I think, too, at that time... now it's so normal to have a 3-hour film.
Right.
Back then, you were losing.
Right.
Yeah,
I don't got time for
I don't really have time
2
to sit
hours.
there.
Yeah.
I mean, we're now it's kind of become the norm. You're definitely okay. I got to tell you, the same thing with Titanic. 3 hours, man, we could have wrapped this puppy up in an hour.
That's right.
I mean, that's kind of
hit the iceberg and we're good.
Yeah. I mean, but I do agree. I really wish there would have been. That movie was jamming too much and too short of a
It's
time.
a big book,
Yeah.
and it's a very good book.
Yes.
Written in 65.
And then what pieces are you going to pull?
Yeah.
I mean, because there's so much in the book. You're right.
Yeah.
That book is like...
And now, time for a quick break from the podcast. Aw, yeah. And now, back to the episode with your host, Matt Logan.
Yeah.
huge.
Yeah.
I mean, and all of Herbert's books are kind of, but I think there was an awful lot to cram in. And
And I think a big part of this film is that you have the houses and you're trying to build, where is this clash coming from? How do these
What
houses
started
get built?
this?
And things like that. That alongside trying to build these new characters, having them move their story forward, how do you do both the history and move forward the current story is very difficult to do.
I really wish they would have played more too, getting just a little bit on the new one.
Yeah.
There was more on the Sarkonnen army
Yeah.
versus in the original.
Right.
And I kind of, I'll admit, I kind of like the strategic war scenes and how they kind of come about. And there wasn't a whole lot, the Emperor talks about, yep, I promised them 7
Right.
leagues of my,
Yep.
But in the new movie, they emphasize actually on the army itself,
Right.
which I thought was kind of cool.
Yeah.
I
Exactly.
mean, there again, it's like, God, what do you put in? What do you take out? What do you?
Exactly. Especially, I feel like sci-fi was still getting pretty well built up in 1984.
Yeah, so they had Star Trek in the
Yep.
late 60s, and that went whoop,
Yep.
and then it just fell,
Yeah.
right, just as fast as it arrived.
And then
They-
when did Odyssey come out? A lot of those films didn't come out. That Odyssey ended up being huge.
Right.
I mean, so
Battlestar Galactica
Yeah.
TV,
Yep.
and that was,
Yep.
but yeah, so they were trying to build it back up
Yeah.
at that time, and so it would have been no one would have watched it. It
Right.
already didn't do very well.
Right.
So no one would have watched it then if it was 3 hours, but the story was so good that it would have been nice to see a film
Yeah.
that would have been 2 parts or longer.
Right.
get that story.
I do agree, like what we were talking earlier, I do agree that they need to have the backstory and how the houses got created. Why is there a war? You know, why is the emperor controlling spice?
Right.
Why did he send, you know, Paul Atreides, why did he send Leto Atreides to oversee Arrakis?
Yeah.
You know, what is the story behind the story?
Right.
You know, why is the spice so vital to space travel? You can fold space.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, it would have been kind of nice to know a little bit of that backstory.
Yeah, because I think the hard part is you're dealing with sand.
Yes.
It's not, for better or for worse, it's not that flashy of a commodity. We're like dealing with empires, or we're taking over whole planets, we're taking over empires of people. But for this, it really was that this planet has the only spice in the galaxy.
Yeah, it's like the Holy War.
Yeah, right.
You know,
so. Yeah, it would have been nice to understand a little bit more.
Well, and not only that, too, just kind of like, you know, the differences between the new film and the old one. You know, in the new film, they show the Fremens coming up out of their caverns to attack.
Right.
You know, they're literally popping out the sand. I'm like, oh,
that's
wow,
right.
that is
And
like
it wasn't
awesome.
it wasn't tacky.
No, it was
that
so
was one
cool.
part of the movie that wasn't tacky.
Yeah.
Right?
So cool.
Yeah,
You know, it's
they
like,
just did a
oh.
really nice job.
They
with
did
that.
a really nice job on that.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah.
Let's get into scoring stuff. Let's score the score.
Let's score the score. Toto. I love Toto. My wife does not love Toto. So quick, this is just a quick story. When I got married, when we were getting ready for it, we met with our DJ and said, asked us if there was any songs that resonated with our hearts with our friends. And we were like, not really. Well, then I was like, well, there's Africa by Toto. One of my favorite songs ever. And I listen to it all the time. And not knowing how much my wife hated it. She does not like that song. I cannot play that song if we are in the same proximity of each other.
So when you like go out of state without her, that's when you got to play it?
That's
like...
right. I'll play it on repeat on loud as many times as I can. So I told our DJ, this is a song that I like. And one of my friends, when in college, we listened to it a lot. We really enjoyed it. And then he went on like a whole 5-10 minute spiel of how like Africa by Toto was not that popular song. And it's all of a sudden hit a resurgence within the last 3 to 5 years. And talked about how much he loved it, how much everyone just loved it at songs, right? Or at weddings. And then my wife tells me I hate that song. Why would you suggest that? But she felt because now he's gone on this 5-10 minute rant, well, we can't say no. We can't say, well, never mind. We don't want Africa. So come to our wedding day. Wonderful ceremony, wonderful reception. Songs are going great. Africa's not being played. Megan's happy. Life is good. So he comes up to us. Are you ready for your last song? And I was like, it was like 11 o'clock. Megan were like, yeah, we're ready to be done. And we've danced our hearts away. And so he gets everyone that's still there at the wedding party to circle up around us. And Megan and I are in the center. And all of a sudden we hear, dun, 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 dun. And Megan just gives me a death glare. And I was like, I did not plan this at all. I promise. But I am enjoying every single moment, even though I know you're hating this. This is my moment of the wedding.
Oh my God, I would have killed you.
Oh, and it would have been well worth it.
I
should have been murdered multiple times.
Oh my God.
That's hilarious. That's a good story.
That being said, the soundtrack I did love. It was it's hard to recognize it was Toto for the most part. It was very ambiotic. It did work really well with the movie. And so I thought they did a great job of building the ambiance of space, even like the desert scenes of playing like broad, long notes and stuff like that engaged you into the film. And so, again, I said, you can't really tell it's Toto, but then the end credits, it was like, this is definitely Toto. You can tell it's more of a band. So I thought that was kind of funny. That does nothing to do with the rest of the score, but I just thought it was funny. There was that big transition at the end of like, oh, this is definitely more of a band rather than an orchestra or a typical score. So I enjoyed it. This was by far probably my favorite part of this film. So we're starting off high for me, but it's probably only going to deteriorate.
Do you really think that I was going to start you out on something other than score on a movie that I know you didn't like?
Hey,
I wanted some positive to start us out here.
So yeah, I really enjoyed it. It sounded epic. Music was filled with thought. I gave it a 4.2. Really enjoyed it, especially being Toto. I think this was the only movie they've ever composed or ever did compose, and I thought it was a great job. It was an interesting one for them to choose, but enjoyed it.
I wonder, did they do it because, and maybe it's out there somewhere, did they do it because they're friends with Sting and he was in it, or did they do it because blah, 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 blah? You know what I mean? Like, was there some connection?
I think, honestly, I think it was just basically the producers. I mean, Dean Laurentiis is huge, big. I mean, that's like right up there with, oh, God. I lost it, but like the Mario Pluzos of I mean, that's an honor to be able to do that for De Laurentiis,
right?
Seriously,
yeah.
And not only that too, it's probably like anything else. Build up your resume, build up
right.
Like, hey, I've done it.
That's right.
It's kind of like...
Get that thing off the checklist.
Yeah, it's kind of like Queen and Highlander.
Right.
Yeah. So, but yeah, I mean, my favorite, I love the music,
Well,
too.
I don't think they wanted to do Highlander, though. I'd have to look at that again, but...
I thought they... Well, I thought they did.
I didn't think... I think they had to...
Because Brian Mercury was really or Brian May was really instrumental in doing a lot of the composing on that. So,
no, I know, but I don't think as a band, I don't think they wanted to... I'd have to look at that. I'm a pretty big Highlander fan, and I read that a long time ago.
I love Highlander.
One of them had to be like majorly convinced into doing it.
Yeah, it could be.
But I don't remember... Anyway,
could be Freddie personality.
Yeah,
I mean, the music at the very end. We were talking earlier that iconic where he becomes who he truly is meant to be.
Right.
That music is classic. The dun, dun, I mean, and it's just climatic.
Right.
I was like, yes, there it is.
Yeah, that's right.
So I mean, that was pretty powerful composing.
Yeah.
I liked it.
Agreed.
I really do like the soundtrack.
Yeah.
I do too. I didn't give it quite as high a score as you did. I gave it a 3.9, and there was just a little bit to me there was the end certainly was very rock band, but you could tell that it was new to them in a couple places. I thought, but it was fun. Yeah, I really did enjoy it. But there were some other things that I gave a little higher score than that. So. That I enjoyed more in the movie than the score.
You mean there's other things you can enjoy?
It's hard to believe. It's hard to believe. Let's go right into the filming locations. For 1984 and what they were trying to do here, I thought that they did a really good job. So I scored it pretty high, and just because I know they had to really. This wasn't something easy to do back then. No, this film, and I feel like they spent a lot of money on locations.
Well, do you know how they built the desert, or what?
No, I didn't read that. No.
To create the desert, they used 200 workers spending 2 months to clear out 3 miles of the Mexican desert.
No kidding.
Yeah. So that's a good part of the budget. Is just clearing out a part of the desert.
Yeah.
So
what did they have? Did it describe what they had to clear out? Like,
my guess is just building the dunes and everything else like that. I mean, the shots were well done.
Yeah.
And getting some of those specific shots, I'm sure they had to shift around a lot of sand, especially since they didn't have as much CGI.
Right.
And they wanted to look natural. So I'm sure that's what a lot of it went into, was just making those dunes look like a barren planet. So that would be my guess.
That's a good piece. That's a good piece. So 4.6, and that probably would have even made another point, 0.7 if I would have looked into it a little deeper like that. But the locations were good. I even in in the mansion, some of the different tunnels that passageways they had. Yep. Thought they did a really good job on that. They looked like they they either built them or went to some location that actually had those types of tunnels.
I did too. I really liked how they showcased the caverns, the decaliters of water, and now granted, you could be doing green screen where you're kind of moving, obviously, but I mean, I really thought that they did a great job with showing the undergroundness of the Fremen. Obviously, in the original Dune, those rocks were a little bit more realistic.
Right.
In the old one, no, not so much. But
there was a couple of those.
There was
scenes
I was
that
like,
were
okay, but okay, they're trying here. Come on. But yeah. So I mean, I think that. I'm sorry. I think that they could have. That really kind of surprises me about the whole desert thing, because I think they could have put a little bit more work into creating that desert. Because honestly, I don't think they showed in the original a whole crap load of desert.
Right.
Most of it was in inside the rock. They had their, where Paul is addressing the people. That's in the cavern. So I don't think that there was a whole lot of sand scenes that, they could have made doing a mile.
Right. Yeah.
And as far as the ocean scene, they could hit a beach somewhere on a cloudy day and you could have gotten the waves.
Right.
There wasn't that deep, or you could show rain.
Right.
But yeah, I mean, I don't think that they I didn't really see that they put a whole lot of time into the locations. I really don't. Or at least, it's Mexico, but okay, whatever. I wasn't overly impressed with the actual outdoorsy part. I kind of got a kick out of more of the caverns, more of the, up in space.
It seemed like they could control that a little bit more. I think, which is why they may have focused on being in those areas more than the outside. But I could.
Yeah, no, I think that was probably easier at that in 1984 like that.
You had the fortress where the rain was coming down. Okay, you could splash some water and do a what I mean, super soaker type thing. Because they didn't make a big deal out of the houses. They just didn't.
No, they didn't. That, like I said earlier, that was the big thing that was disappointing to me. They didn't expand the story enough. I mean, it was certainly enough to be very entertaining. But I would have loved to learn more in the original film. But
I gave it a 3.9. You could tell the different locations of where they were at, which was important. Again, the industrial, nomadic, and then the desert. I think they could have done more with it, like you said, of really developing the culture based off of the film or the location, which I didn't think they did as well. And again,
and now a quick break from the podcast, because listening sometimes just gets draining, just like water drains down a sink. Okay.
The older film is hard because how much did they have to work? How much budget did they have to be able to send people to different places to be able to get different shots?
The crews and stuff, sure.
Right. So,
it's not like you're doing Game of Thrones where you can go all
that's
over.
That's right. Where you have your crew set up essentially in different locations for a whole season, which that amazes me. So. Again, I think they did well with what they had, especially again. I think
I've been trying to hold this back, but bringing up Game of Thrones, I've been to a lot of the locations in Ireland
Stonehenge
that they filmed. But yeah, so anyway,
that's my bucket list.
Oh my gosh,
I've never been there.
I want to go to England so bad.
Yeah.
I would just backpacking through this old different. Backpacking through Europe would be so cool, just because of the historical context of things that happen. Going back to Dune, I would love to backpack through Dune as well, in the deserts, and sweat my butt off, and realize water's nowhere.
You got to get one of the suits.
That's true. That's right. And those nostril things.
Well, you know, I would not want to do that because being in Cali,
Yeah.
you know, the next closest thing that you can get to that, Darwin, is Death Valley. Spend some time there. I got to spend some time in Death Valley. Yeah, okay, no.
I'll stay with the land of 10,000.
Yeah, you might be grateful for the lakes a little bit, but yeah, Death Valley, yeah, that's about, yeah, okay.
Yeah.
That's about as well. Yeah.
Yeah.
So, no. That would not be
Actor chemistry for you.
I struggled a lot with the actor chemistry.
Let me ask you to clarify that a little bit. Did you struggle because the acting of the time?
I think it was probably a mix.
Okay.
I thought that, to me, the characters felt a little stiff in times, where I think that is definitely something that acting has evolved so much from 1984. And so some of the scenes, they seemed really stiff. I like it when people face each other more frequently. I didn't feel like there was a lot of scenes where, besides you had 2x2 where they face each other. But you didn't really see a lot of face-to-face interaction, which I wish there would have been more of that, because to me that builds relationship more than... I remember there was a scene that reminded me of Star Wars where it was, I think, Paul and his dad and Gurney, and I think someone else was there, but it almost looked like the cockpit of the Millennium Falcon, where there was 2 people in front, 2 people in back, and they were going somewhere. And so there was a lot of scenes like that where I wish they could have been facing each other more. Again, it doesn't necessarily make sense to what's going on, but I just wish there would have been scenes that would have built more of a face-to-face connection.
Oh, I know what scene you're talking about.
Yeah.
They're actually going to extract. They're going to.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. That's what it was.
And and they are, and one of the head Fremen.
Yeah.
Is their guide.
Right.
But yeah, I agree. Some of them are a little bit. The acting of the time is different.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, but wouldn't that be more, not necessarily cinematography, but certainly the way it laid out the scene, the direction of the scene.
Right.
Wouldn't necessarily be actor chemistry in a scene like that where they're not facing each other.
The hard part for me, and the way that it ties in, that I had a hard time having the characters connecting with each other.
Okay.
Just because there weren't scenes that I think they tied together where you don't see where they're face to face, where you can see the emotion, where they can build the chemistry together as much. And that's where I was more going with that. And they seem more stiff. And I really did not like all of the voiceover work. And again, I think I understand what was going on in the context, but I just had a hard time following some things that were going on there was a lot of voiceovers.
So you mean like the narration that they had in there, and the
telepathy and things like that. So I gave it a 3.1 with actor chemistry. I just wish I can connect with the characters as much.
I'm gonna bring that up to a 4.3 for me.
Yeah.
Because I tried to, like I talked about in the previous episode we did on the 2021 Dune.
Yep.
I try to really separate. So, like, okay, this is the day.
Yep.
Like, this is 1984. What
Right.
did they do in 1984 versus what they do now? And how it's evolved. So I kind of rated it on that basis.
Right.
You have some good actors in here that are good, solid actors. Some of them are very new.
Yep.
At the time. And I thought that they did a dynamite job with the time allotted. I'm going to go back to that time thing again. With the kind of time that they had in this deep story, I think they did a really good job. That's my opinion.
Yeah.
So that's why I brought that there.
Yeah, the time also does make it hard.
Yeah.
Because they did have to rush some of the character development.
And I liked the narration.
Yeah.
I liked the narrator stuff. I liked the telepathy stuff because that helped tell the story.
It did.
Princess Uterine, when she's, Dune is, it is the year 1000, I mean,
10,191 or whatever.
Yeah, I mean, that was perfect lead-in,
Right.
To, and by the way, it's called, Dune.
Right.
I mean, I thought that was a great lead in. Also, my thing for the times,
Yep.
once again, is that, we're in a generation now where we can get away with more expression.
Right.
You're as good as your writer, your
Right.
screenwriter,
Yeah.
so
That's a
things
good point.
So you can't always, there's not that fluidity.
Right.
We're more free to talk more now.
Right.
But there, it's kind of that script is stiff.
That's
You're off
right.
script. You're fired.
That's
yeah,
right.
so you're not seeing and with the new Dune, you're seeing more of the emotions. Where with the old Dune, you're not seeing a lot of those.
Right.
I get what you're saying.
Yeah.
There is that time factor from the generations of writing.
Right.
Everything has to be on script. You have to do it on cue. There is no fudge factor for, because you can't have takeover after takeover.
Right. We have to get things moving.
You got to get it going.
Yep.
And it comes off being very,
Right.
stiff.
Yeah.
I just think that's the sign of the times. That
Right.
The way acting was done then. I think that was a lot more method acting,
Yeah.
personally.
Right.
Yeah, it was. Yeah. That's that. Yeah, I agree.
And now, a quick break. And it's not a Kit Kat, sorry. And now, back to the episode with your host, Matt Logan.
And you did not go off script.
No.
There was no, look at all the things that we see nowadays that these scenes that the actors created. That
Right.
was, the general idea was there with the writing and the direction.
Improv is huge when it comes into scenes nowadays, especially when you hire certain people.
Yes.
Yeah.
So that's a really good point. Cinematography. I'm leaving costume design until later.
It was good costume design. I was actually quite impressed by the cinematography of how well things held up. I think we reviewed Ghostbusters last week, same release year, I think, and I think watching some of the things that happened in that film, I'm like, that's just absolutely cheesy.
In nearly the same budget,
right?
Very, very close.
Yeah. So I thought it was crazy how well some of the things helped up with some of the laser beams and even some of the stuff with his visions of the way they overlaid things. I thought was really cool, and holds up. I mean, 30 years with what they did was pretty fantastic. Again, so I gave it a 4.1. I did actually enjoy. I enjoyed how things were shot, and there was one of those things that I was impressed. I did not. I thought the shields reminded me of Superman 2. Of who was it? The weird shields. You remember in Superman 2 and Zod when he's trapped in that mirror?
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
That's what it reminded me of.
Okay.
The Exiles.
Yeah. So I got that same vibe. So I was just expecting them fly off screen and go to a different planet. And so that was probably the one huge thing when it came to the CGI. I was like, I do not like these shields. They look like little stick people walking around and things like that.
It was hilarious.
Yeah.
I mean, I laughed my hiney off on that. I'm like, you just shouldn't even have it.
Right.
At that point, you just shouldn't have it.
No.
I mean, somehow, how would you get across the idea of the shield without having the shield?
Right.
You know what I mean? Because that was terrible.
Oh, it was.
I mean, you could have taken a deck of cards and done a better job with.
Right.
I mean, taping them onto them. You know
That's
what I
right.
mean? Like that was.
So that was the only when it came to CGI. That was the major cringe moment of I was like, oh dear, we have come so far from these block structures.
See, and I was kind of the opposite effect. I was really upset with how they did the thumpers.
Okay.
I liked the old thumper.
Yeah,
sure.
Versus the small little gadget that they were carrying in the new one. I liked that.
Yeah.
I got to be honest with you. I wasn't really impressed with the blue of their eyes.
Right.
I did not like this one. No, I mean, I didn't like it in the new one.
Oh, the new
I
one.
liked the old
Old
one. You know, because obviously, yeah, you want them to stand, you know, that's the whole point.
Right.
You know, the spice has gotten to them.
Right.
You know, it's a saturation.
Yep.
You know, so I kind of liked the fact that that's what they looked like.
Yeah.
You know, so some of those effects were a little bit, I just, you know, absolutely with the shield.
Yeah.
I liked the wiring modules. They didn't
Yeah.
have a lot of those. You know, they had the war room, and that wasn't. I loved the war room in the old one.
Yep.
That wasn't emphasized as much in the new one, but
Right.
that was a huge part of that because that was the huge part of that. They were inventing this machinery.
Right.
You know, I mean, so yeah, there are certain things that I really thought they could have brought it to the new one that
Yep.
the old one had the advantage on.
Yeah. Cinematography, I gave it a 4.2. I think for the day, the darks were the dark,
Yep.
the lights were the light. You know, so capturing that on the cameras of the day, I think, is very good.
Yeah.
Certainly with a budget of, I mean, back then, obviously that was a pretty good budget. And it was shot in Mexico.
Right.
So I think that they brought some good technology to this for the day. So a 4.2 on that. Definitely those tacky scenes. But I'm not sure that's cinematography's fault.
No.
You know. So.
Another thing I didn't like, and I don't know about you guys, but this was Matt might agree with me more on this, but
I don't know. Tyler might agree on dislikes.
I already disagree.
But you know, when they were going in and she was testing him, the Reverend Mother was testing him. You know, I was not impressed with the whole testing scene. You know, even the box wasn't elaborate. You know,
Right.
put your hand inside the box. You
It was
know,
very
the
simple.
nerve conduction type
Yeah.
thing. It was very simple. They made more of a bigger deal out of it in the
Oh gosh,
the
I think I
old
blacked
one
this part of my mind.
than the new one.
Yeah.
You know, and I love the fact in the old one they were showing the skin and the pain, and
I
he
blacked out.
Kyle literally brought that out.
Yeah.
This new dude, it honestly, it was kind of like, you know, it was like no big deal. Okay, you know, and they made the deal of, you know, okay, take your hand out of the box, you know, and I don't know, I just thought that they could have emphasized that a little bit more on some of the scenes.
Yeah.
But, you know, I mean, that box was huge.
Right.
You know, fear is the mind killer.
Yeah.
You know, but yeah, it was kind of. Some of the stuff was just really cheesy that, you know, which really disappointed me because with the technological age that we're in now, they
Yep.
could have made that damn box a little bit more elaborate.
Right.
Just, yeah.
Yeah, I think I blacked.
Somebody
that part
bought
out.
a new pair of shoes and they put a little paint on it, and I think they cut a hole in it. That's all they did.
Yeah.
In the new one.
Yeah, I was like so disappointed. I was just so disappointed because that was a pivotal part. You
Right,
know, and the
moving
Reverend
forward.
Mother really realized that, wow, the bloodline, this is reality.
Yeah.
No human child has gone through that much pain.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That was a pivotal part for me.
Yep.
Yeah. Costume's going to be last. Overall entertainment value, Tyler.
Yeah, I had a hard time following everything. I think what we talked about earlier, they tried to pack everything in a relatively short amount of time for the story they were trying to tell. And I got confused quite a bit. And I don't know if that's just me not knowing the story going into it. I didn't really look at any trailers or any storylines or anything like that. And so with, again, having issues, and this is just me personally having issues following some of the narration parts of where it was being more voiceover rather than like interacting. I had issues following some of that, and that's just my personal issues that when I go into films working with. And so I give it a 3.4. Again, separating from the times to what I've been used to in my generation of being blessed with better technology and overall better acting.
You're welcome.
You guys are the best.
We had to endure it and
I
help
could
you through it.
fully indulge in the glory. And so, yeah, some of the acting was robotic, and like you guys have mentioned, I think that was more of everything is line for line. We're not really functioning outside of this. And again, it was a very interesting premise of having these different houses fighting over a planet for a spice. But because there was not a lot of context, and again, either me not following or the story not doing it well, I had a hard time like, oh, they're just going after sand. But like, where are these houses even coming from? I wish I would have seen more of that.
Honestly, what's amazing, I got to give him a lot of credit for this. You
Yeah.
know, coming from a recovery aspect.
Right.
You're fighting over a drug. You're fighting over a hallucinogenic drug.
Right. Yeah.
I'm kind of like, okay, how much is this to get high?
Yeah,
or
I
is
guess
it
that
to
makes
fold
sense.
Space,
Yeah.
You're literally having a drug war.
Yeah.
I mean, that's kind of, so, to bring that out in today's, talk about taking a risk.
Yeah, that makes a lot of
we're
sense.
all, you're literally fighting over a drug.
Right.
But the power of what that drug can make you do,
Right.
Obviously, to fold space and time.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, it's absolutely. I think I read something on the original too that they thought that it was a little bit convenient because of the drug war that was happening
wars.
at the time,
Yes.
especially being they were filming it in Mexico.
The cartel.
Yeah.
And that they were like, are they referencing something here?
Right.
And it's like, well, wait a minute. No, this book was written in '65.
That's right.
It has nothing to do with the current drug war here. So
It's prophesied.
But
Yeah.
most people are going to see that, though.
Right.
Honestly, for those that have not read Herbert's, they're going to see, they're fighting over a drug,
Right.
a hallucinogenic drug,
Right.
But it was just, I have to give him a lot of credit.
Yeah.
Like, whoa.
Yeah.
Okay. Because even, like what Matt was saying, that was huge back then.
Right.
To
that was a risk.
very calculator. Seriously,
Right.
to do that,
Yeah.
and it's even a risk today,
Right.
especially with the opioid
Yeah.
epidemic.
Yeah.
That's you're kind of dabbling into some dangerous
Territory. Yeah. Waters.
Well, I gave it a 4.4 overall entertainment value.
Yeah.
Because I remember the first time I watched it, I was just like, I was giddy. I really liked it. It was just like, this is fun.
Yeah.
Like, it was over the top fun.
Yeah.
The Baron and the campy stuff that you mentioned,
Yeah.
and it was just,
made it.
yeah, it totally did. It was just like, I was just glued, right?
God, Tyler,
Yeah.
what's
It
the
was-
matter with you?
Well, okay. Fun fact. I love the Adam West Batman. I will say that. So I am no stranger to the camp. I was just, from the trailers, I was watching from the new one of like it being more serious, and then all of a sudden being mentally switched to a campy style. It was, again, I think I'm going to watch it again to appreciate it in a different context again. But that's where I struggled watching it the first time. Was I think there was a big switch in my mind of like, oh man, this was not what I was expecting style wise.
See what me and Matt brought to you.
I appreciate all of
tell
it.
ya.
I really do.
Or I should say Matt.
I talked to you about this. I want to do Equilibrium.
Yeah.
And I think that's going to be another one of those that, that's like 2006 maybe or 3, I don't remember, but
Yeah.
that one you might enjoy a little bit more because it's a little bit newer.
Quantum leaps.
I
Those
love
type of
Quantum
things,
Leap.
yeah.
And now, a quick break for your ears if you're watching, and your eyes if you're. Wait, did I get that right? Here's some music. And now, back to the episode with your host, Matt Logan.
Yeah. And so it'll be interesting to hear what you think of some of those that are a little bit newer, but yet still out of your new range.
Well, and see, I did grow up with Quantum Leap. My parents loved Quantum Leap, and I loved the idea of the next leap could be the leap home and stuff like that. And so I think, again, I probably went into this with a new mindset of seeing the trailer for the new one and then going to this new one, because visually it's a big switch. And
Yes.
style-wise, it was a big switch. And so I think
Not to mention, it was genius of HBO Max to have Dune and the new Dune
right
next to each other.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, because I have that in my favorites list.
Right.
Because I watch it all the time.
Yeah.
You know, so it was kind of weird. So what I did, you know, when Matt had told me when it was going to be streaming.
Yeah.
So I was like, oh, and it came out on the 22nd. So
Yeah.
on the 21st, I was watching the
old
original
Dune,
Dune.
yeah. That's amazing.
Yeah, I'm so happy it's out.
It's a little hard to watch them back to back for sure. Well, just simply because they're so different in.
Yeah, I did that too.
Yeah, and so that I need to watch both of them again to really get a good context. I think.
I watched it
because I went from the old one.
Yeah.
I watched it at like 1:00 in the afternoon, and then my wife and I went to the theater.
The theater, yeah.
Which is also a big difference, and watched the new one.
Yeah.
And so
I took a day apart. So I watched Dune on the 21st, and then the new Dune on the 22nd.
Right.
So it made a difference for me.
Absolutely.
You know?
Costume.
I thought it was interesting, to say the least. There were parts. So looking at it now, retrospective of even just talking about the new one and the old one, just over this conversation, I think they did do a good job of differentiating the different characters. Even I was Googling just some fun facts this afternoon, and I didn't even realize like Harkonnen, the fact of like all the Harkonnens in the old film had red hair, and then in the new ones they were bald.
Gingers, yeah.
And so I thought that was well done. Even the old ones of really being able to differentiate the characters. And so, I mean, honestly, starting this, I gave it a 2.9, but I think talking about it and having conversations, I think it's like a 3.4 because they did do a lot with it. The Admiral apparel, again, that's just something I don't see nowadays, but probably going back to the time that was something that was more common and not look so old-fashioned ridiculous, because that's what I mentally thought of initially. The Emperor.
The capes.
The capes.
Yeah.
I love capes.
Yeah.
Enemo does not like capes. There were some things that threw me off too, like the English bulldogs that they were carrying. I was like, where in the world are these dogs coming from?
Yeah.
That's not costume design. That's just
Right.
story as a whole. But I just remember seeing that. I was like,
I think they were just trying to actually portray more of the royalty type, you know, the race distinction.
right.
You know,
Yeah.
I'm here, you're here.
Yeah, absolutely.
You know, because you didn't see the Fremens having dogs.
No,
You
right.
know,
That's
I
right.
mean,
We don't have
you know.
water for dogs.
Yeah, we don't have water
Yeah.
for them, you
Yeah.
know. But there's a lot of those difference. You know, I think that I love the Fremen suit in the original.
Yeah.
I like the black.
Yep.
I like how it looked. I liked the mouthpiece that they had. You know, I definitely like that. Obviously, you know, Lady Jessica was decked.
You could tell.
Her hair was coiffed perfectly.
Right.
You know, the new one, obviously, no.
Yep.
You know, even you know, even Leto, you know, he looked like a king.
Yeah.
You know, so, and Gurney looked like a soldier.
Yeah, he did.
So I liked how I think they put I definitely think they put much more effort in the costumes of the old than the new.
The guy with the bushy eyebrows also threw me off.
Yeah, dirty first. I mean, he was perfect though. That was a perfect, and how he mimicked his voice to do the shield.
Yeah.
You know, I thought that was pure genius how he could talk super fast like that, and in that monotone type thing.
Right.
You know, but yeah, that
Nice.
definitely made him.
I'm gonna go werewolf anytime now.
Right. Exactly. I'm in transition
That's
right now.
Where the new one, you know, the only distinctive mark is obviously how his eyes could do the thing that he did, but the marking on his lip.
Yeah.
You know, I thought the original just had more presence about him. You know, he wore this scholarly looking, you know, because he was the teacher.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, so I thought, and then even with Gurney, they brought that, they kind of brought that, the soldier part of him, but they brought the musician part of him.
Yeah. That was cool.
I mean, I thought, with the mandolin,
You're right.
I thought that was kind of cool, to bring that element, a different element to him.
So I gave the costume design a 4.0.
Okay.
It would have been a little bit better than that, but there was a few of the costumes that were House Harkonnen that they didn't. The detail was there, but you could tell that it was like hoses put together and some weird things, right? They didn't kind of finish it off.
The Baron looked like a symbol.
Yeah. But otherwise, they did a lot of really unique things with costume, which I really like.
Yeah.
And so it only got a 4.0 because some of the details were missed. The costume itself was like, that's really cool.
Yeah.
But then it was just the
Polish
detail
it
was,
off.
it just wasn't quite finished. So, the soldiers, the Harkonnen soldiers or whatever they were, had those like tubes coming out of their thing. And you could just, you could tell they went to, Napa and
the same thing too with the Fremen, he got 12 warriors and they all had the red hand of God,
right?
Paint,
yeah,
easy prop, paint.
That's right.
But at the same time, I really feel that it made the costume.
Yeah, I think
those things that stand out, I agree. I like that. Just some of that finished off detail on some of them would have been a little bit, less campy would have been nice.
See?
The word of the podcast.
That's right.
Oh, come on. No.
Only picture Adam West now running out with his Batman costume.
Good stuff. So that brings my overall rating of this film to a 4.2.
3.1.
There
Take
it is.
it or leave it.
There it is.
And again, I'm going to watch it again, so it could
better
change.
Rewatch.
And I'll keep people posted. But right now, I was just I think the hard part for me is
I get it, though. I get it.
Yeah. I was also expecting Mr. Picard to come out with the Enterprise. Like, I really did. When I saw Patrick Stewart
Make
in this
it so.
film, that's right.
Classic.
So
Tea, Earl Grey, hot. You mean he didn't say that in this film? I heard
That's
it.
the
I thought
extended
in the
cut.
narration part, I heard it for sure.
deleted scenes.
No, I really do think though that now you can go back and see some of the because I myself will go back through the new Dune and
it needs to grow a little bit.
Love it.
yes,
Yeah.
no, I
know you won't,
darling,
but-
I'm not gonna love it. It might improve like that much, but I mean, but to go back and be open-minded to go back and look at it again. Like I said, the only thing that I'm really hoping that the distinction between the two of them is that they're going to have to really bring in an all-star.
Yeah. I think
Because the advantage of the first Dune is it got wrapped up in one play.
right. And I think it's pretty incredible that one was in 1984 and one was 2021. They're telling the same story, but I think it's pretty spectacular how different they felt. And I think it's interesting going forward to see really what effect like a director and tone can bring to a film. And even just going into the future ones, like imagine this being filmed and directed by somebody else or in a different time, because again, it's the same exact story.
Yes.
But it feels completely different.
Yes.
I would have loved to seen the old actors redo this film in today's time.
Right.
It would be a vastly different film.
Yeah.
I mean, it really would.
Right.
But at the same time, I really do. I see your point.
Yeah.
The new one's just dark.
Yeah.
Your word.
Yeah.
The other one is campier.
Yeah.
You're right. It is.
Even for the day, it was kind of campy.
It was.
And that's that satire that they had in it.
But
with the Baron
but that's
and
what.
some of it.
But I really think that's what gave that movie its charm.
Yeah.
It really was. I mean, because it was fun. It's fun to laugh at the Baron.
Right.
his antics, I mean, even though he's pulling out the heart chamber, the electric, and then drinking the blood or, I mean, yeah, I mean, but that stuff is kind of funny, even though it's twisted as heck. It's funny.
And here is where I'll lay my problem with those scenes is blood squirting does not lead to Tyler being awake.
Right.
I was like, even the hand scene, you were bringing that up, and I was like, completely forgot about that because I thought it was disgusting. But it was, again, when you brought it up, it was, thinking about it, it was well done. But I remember seeing Hacksaw Ridge, and when you see guts and coming out, I was like, this movie's great.
Wow, you must have had a ball on Saving Private Ryan.
Yep. Yep.
Carrying his arm.
Oh, okay. Yes.
So, but like I said, when we were talking earlier, that red hand made up his force. That was his 12 guys.
Yeah.
I mean, so I like the distinction that, they earned the right to be his personal.
That's that inner circle thing, for sure. Yeah. So that's standing out like that. What's your name?
My name is Tyler.
Sure.
It's fun podcasting.
It's a blast.
We should do it again. Like, at least Tyler and I will do it next week.
When part 2 comes out.
So if you guys ever decide to do Godfather, you best be inviting me. Or
and we can order Godfathers.
Or Apocalypse too. That's also another.
We have a lot of things coming on.
We do. Yeah, it's gonna be a busy month.
Yeah.
In November, isn't it? We're gonna take a week off too, though.
Thanksgiving.
Yeah.
Gobble.
Got to do it. Thanks for joining us. This is a great time. We appreciate you just hammering out a comment, hammering the like button, hammering the share button. That helps us grow as people and grow as a podcast because we are brand new. We're new to this.
That's right.
8 episodes.
That's
in.
right.
Yeah. Let's ride. See you next time.
Okay, so I'll see you later, huh? I'll give you a call.
So it's done. It's done.